Expiration date. The world had changed. It wasn't war, it wasn't disease, it wasn't famine. It was too many people living too long. At first it was slow. Medical advancements kept pushing the limits. People in their 90s were still working. Centenarians were everywhere. Then came life extension technology, and suddenly 150 wasn't unheard of. People weren't dying, and that was the problem. Earth couldn't handle it. Resources stretched thin. The young struggled to find jobs because the old never left. Housing crises skyrocketed. Governments were drowning in unpaid debts. Social security collapsed. So they came up with the solution, the Maximum Age Act. It started with whispers, rumors. Then one day, it was law. Every citizen had an expiration date, 100 years, no exceptions. On your 100th birthday, you report to the center. You say your goodbyes, you make peace. And then you go to sleep, permanently. At first, people protested. Riots broke out. The elderly went into hiding. Some families faked deaths, falsified records. But you can only run so long. The government started tracking birthdays. Medical records became watch lists. The penalty for dodging your expiration. Your entire family loses their citizenship. No healthcare, no housing, no food rations. Nobody risked it. The final year, Mara was 99. She had lived a good life. Raised 2 kids, loved a husband, worked as a teacher for 40 years. She felt healthy, sharp, strong, but the calendar didn't care. In 6 months, she would be 100. Her son, Daniel, refused to talk about it. There has to be a way. Maybe we can forge the records, change your birth date. Her daughter, Lillian, was more realistic. They'll find out. They always do. Mara wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of being forced to die. She spent her days watching the sun rise and set, wondering how many more she had left. Her mind was clear, her body still capable. Yet the world had already stamped her with an expiration date. Then came the letter. Official, cold, final. Dear citizen, your transition date has been scheduled for June 14th, 2073. Please report to your designated center by 8 a.m. Failure to comply will result in consequences for your remaining family members. Mara stared at it. Her hands didn't shake. This was it, the last choice. People had a choice in how they went. Some took the injection, painless, peaceful. Some opted for virtual immersion, a program that let them live out their final moments in a dream world before shutting down. Others, the more traditional, walked into the chamber and simply never walked out. Mara didn't want any of those. She wanted to fight. A small resistance had formed. The uncounted. They lived in the shadows, off-grid, refusing to comply. But Mara had seen what happened to them, hunted down, labelled as traitors, erased. She had spent her whole life following the rules, teaching kids to be good, to listen, to obey. But this was not life, and she refused to be told when hers should end. So on the morning of June 14th, Mara didn't report to the center. She packed a bag, left a letter for her children, and vanished into the unknown, joining those who refused to accept that a government had the right to decide when a life was over. And maybe she wouldn't win. Maybe they would find her. Maybe her story would end like everyone else's. But as long as she still had breath in her lungs, she would decide when her final moment came. Not them,